The remote control was meticulously taped to a piece of rubber tubing, which was fastened to the railing of his hospital-style bed. My Uncle Bill engineered it so my grandfather could change the channels on his small RCA television without dropping the remote or sending it crashing to the floor. Before this invention, the remote had fallen many times. The damage was obvious: breaks, scratches, layers of tape holding it together. Strange, isn't it, the things we remember? But back then, you couldn't just buy a replacement at the store. You had to send away to the manufacturer and wait for it to arrive in the mail. And no one was going to subject my grandfather to that kind of inconvenience. It mattered because he spent so much of his time watching Channel 13, or whatever station had programming that interested him. When family or friends weren't visiting, television was one of the few things he could turn to. And so, in those final years of his life, some of my fondest memories and deepest observations were formed. My grandfather didn't die from the multiple sclerosis that had consumed decades of his life. An aneurysm took him in his sleep. God, how I loved him. And as I look back, I realize I wasn't the only one. He had a way of touching everyone he met. I doubt anyone else in that facility had the kind of following he had. The last few years of his life were spent in a nursing home. After 20 years of back-breaking lifting, pulling, and positioning, my grandmother's body simply couldn't keep up. His room was filled with equipment designed to help move dead weight. It looked almost like a mechanic's shop, but even with all of it, he was becoming more than she could handle alone. The phrase nursing home started floating around. I remember those weeks before the decision was made. It was hard on everyone. Afterward, family members tried to reassure me. This is only temporary. His health will improve. God will make him well again. But I had my doubts. I had been praying for years, as everyone told me to, and nothing improved. In my dreams, I saw him walk again, but not in life. I bargained with God. If you make him walk again, I'll be a better boy. Let me suffer for him instead. And I meant it. I would have given my life to make him well. I'm sure I wasn't the only one who felt that way. When my mother told me he had passed, I was furious with God. How could he let this happen? Hadn't my grandfather endured enough? God had performed miracles for so many undeserving people. Why couldn't he grant just one more? That day, I turned my back on God. Even now, part of me still holds anger for all the unanswered prayers. But my grandfather never held that anger, not once. My mother told me that his spiritual strength far outweighed his physical strength, and now I know she was right. Sadly, I know I can never be the kind of man he was. My faith is gone, and it was his faith that kept him gentle, loving, just, even under the enormous burden he carried. It's incredible, really. I cannot remember a single moment of anger from him, not one. For the last years of his life, he could do nothing by himself. He was fully dependent on others, and still his character never cracked. It was then that I learned how difficult it is to blend consistency with character, to maintain integrity when life strips you of everything else. Some of my most meaningful lessons in compassion came from a few simple tasks. Sometimes I shaved his face. It was an honor. I remember the roughness of his beard before the shave, the funny faces he'd make to help me reach every spot, the foam on his chin. But mostly, I remember his eyes. Through them, I knew he loved me and that he respected me. Sometimes I brushed his teeth. He'd spit all over himself and we'd laugh. I loved him so much it hurt to see him like this, vulnerable, exposed, in a place he didn't deserve to be. Sometimes the reality overwhelmed me. The wailing of other patients, the sight of confused, wandering souls, the constant smell of urine. I'd leave the room so he wouldn't see me cry. I'd step into the hall and curse God through my tears. How my grandmother took care of him for decades without losing her mind, I will never know. She is the strongest human being I've ever known. Even now she doesn't see anything she did as heroic, another testament to her character and her integrity. My grandparents' devotion to each other is the only reason I have any hope of experiencing even a fraction of what they shared. If not for them, I would have given in to cynicism about marriage long ago. Watching them together was like watching two people on their first few dates. They still held hands. Their love didn't weaken under pressure, it deepened. I long for a love like that, to love someone that way, to be loved that way in return. But don't we all? Sometimes I daydream about what it would be like if he were still here. I miss our bedside talks. I miss the advice he gave me about my future. I miss the look on his face when I brought him a drawing for his wall, the way he'd be on the verge of tears, overflowing with pride for me and his other grandchildren. I miss you, Grandpa. Love, Anthony. Bye.